Yep, the say your piece.
Okay,
And then you're
good.
going to go
Yeah,
stand up
over
there,
there.
and then she's going to sit right there.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Joyce is going to speak.
What are you doing?
Yeah, she's going to speak.
I'm just going to
Just
say our little
my
shtick.
name.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't. I'll do
I'm
it.
just a little uptight. I don't know. But I,
No problem.
Okay. So
well, I can say my name and
I'll.
she
you'll
can,
do it.
She'll do it. She'll
Okay, good.
And then come sit.
Okay, thank you.
we'll go. She said to the left and right of chairs, but I'm not. I think we're back there.
Okay.
She can move us if I think last year that's what we did. So we had the big band.
The big band.
Yeah, but there was also signs like this.
I'm sure the people in front of us, so we're supposed to hold it like this. Couldn't press our face. Yeah, and then they'll say, oh, no, we haven't done this. wants us to disperse to the side because they come in back in.
Yep.
No, when they come in. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But she wants us to be visible, I don't know where that is. Right. You know? Make sure you're looking like this. Don't hold your fingers over the.
All right, about to start.
Over here.
We are Joyce and Gilles Rousseau. We are here to honor with action Gilles' daughter Lauren, a teacher killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School, December 14th, 2012.
My name is Teresa Fuller. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. I'm here to honor with action my husband, William Woodall.
My name is Jeanette Richardson. My son Patrick, I'm from Newport News, Virginia. My son Patrick, I'm here to honor him with action.
My name is Pastor Sam. Instead of my son's picture, I put his daughter's picture up. I'm here to honor her. Countless times of asking where her father were, who died on October 20th, 2012, killed by an assassin's bullet. I'm here to honor her in the work that we do, honor her and her father's memory with action.
My name is Kathleen Senchina. I'm from the state of Michigan. This is my grandson, Camilo.
Claire from San Francisco, my only child, Camilo, honor with action.
I'm Ruth Senchina from upstate New York. I'm the aunt of Camilo Senchina Beltran, honor with action.
Good morning. My name is Angel Santiago,
And my name is Louis Roldan,
and we are both survivors of the shooting at Pulse nightclub on June 12th in Orlando, Florida.
and we are representing the 49 lost ones.
Good morning. My name is Mary Long. I'm from Chicago. I lost my only child, Eric Edwin Williams, to gun violence March 12, 2012.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christina Johnson. I lost my son, Christopher Johnson, at 22 years old last year, April 15th, 2015 due to gun violence in Chicago and Illinois, and I'm here to honor with action.
My name is Kamisha Pryor, and this is my daughter, Sierra Carter. I lost my niece, Kaylin Pryor, November 15th, November 2nd, 2015, and I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I'm here to honor with action.
We're Sandy and Lonnie Phillips. This is our daughter, Jessica Nicole Redfield Gowie, killed in the Aurora Theater Massacre, and we're here to honor with action.
My name is Kimberly Sheridan. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm here to honor with action my only brother, Ronald Wagner, killed March 31st, 2004.
My name is Brenda Grisham, and I'm from Oakland, California. I'm here in memory of my son, Christopher Lavelle Jones, who was murdered December 31st, 2010, and I'm here to honor with action.
Hi, I'm Antoinette Johnson. I'm from Oakland, California. I'm here for my son, Terrell, who was murdered in Oakland, California. I'm here to honor with action.
My name is Carolyn Tuft. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm a survivor of gun violence, and I'm here to honor my daughter, Kirsten Hinckley. Honor with action.
Good morning. My name is Melody McFadden, and I'm here to honor with action my mother, who was killed in gun violence, Patricia Ann Geddes, and her granddaughter, who went to the beach and was killed, Sandy Patrice Geddes Barnwell. Honor them with action.
Good morning. I'm Maria Pike from Chicago. My son, Ricky Pike, age 24, was killed August 3rd, 2012. And to my left is Ethel Lance, mother of Sharon Risher from Mother Emmanuel. And I'm here to honor with action.
Hello, my name is Janice Cannon. I'm here to honor with action Matthew Cannon. He was killed October 7, 2007. I'm here to honor him with action. I'm from Chicago. Thank you.
Hi, my name is J. Denise Cromwell. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm here to honor with action my uncle, a decorated U.S. veteran, and my nephew that was killed by gun violence. Self-inflicted wound at 19 was able to buy a gun. I am honoring with dignity and action.
My name's Patricia Maish, Tucson, Arizona, a fortunate survivor of the shooting where Gabby Giffords was shot. 6 people died, 13 injured. One of the dead, Gabe Zimmerman, you're in his memorial room right now. He was the first legislative aide to die in the line of action. I honor them with action.
My name is Clay Lasher Summers. I'm from Westmoreland, New Hampshire, and I'm honoring with action this girl that I was at 13 years old. I have this is one of 3 pictures I have from my childhood. I'm honoring with action the childhood that I lost, and I'm honoring with action all of the children who have been murdered in this country.
Tom Campbell, Connecticut. I'm here to honor with action John Campbell, who was murdered 51 years ago this Christmas in New York City.
I am Diane Selgren from Minnesota. I honor with action the memory of my daughter who died in 2011 from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, along with her father, her uncle, and her great-grandfather.
Hello, my name is Angelique Page. I'm from Hayward, California. I'm here to honor with action my son, Vernon Eddins Jr., that was murdered by gun violence December 21st, 2007.
Hi, my name is Tamika Wilbert. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. This is my brother, Courtney Craig, and I'm here to honor with action.
Hello, my name is Stephen Miller. This is my wife, Joellen. We're from South Bend, Indiana. This is my brother, Tom. He was killed at age 20 by a violent gun homicide.
Christopher, our nephew, 20 years old, died of a self-inflicted gun wound with an AK-47.
We're also here to advocate for the victims and survivors of Elkhart, Indiana, my native town, who are experiencing weekly gun violence.
We are here to honor with action these fallen lives.
My name is Megan Ackerman. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I myself am a gun violence survivor. And I'm also here to honor with action my aunt and my cousin who were both murdered by guns.
My name is Caree Pennybaker. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm here to honor with action my mother, Joyce Pennybaker, who shot and killed herself on September 8th, 1979.
My name is Manjula Stokes. I'm from Santa Cruz, California. I'm here to honor my mother and my brother who are victims of domestic violence at the hands of my father.
My name is Tina Mines from Riverside, California. I'm here to honor with action my father, Damian Mines, who was killed in the terrorist attacks in San Bernardino, December 2nd, 2015.
My name is Wayne Richardson. I'm from South Portland, Maine. I'm here to honor with action.
My name's Judy Richardson. This is our daughter, Darian. Darian was shot in a home invasion in her own bedroom in 2010, and it's never been solved.
We are Barbara and Andy Parker. We are here to honor with action our daughter, Allison Parker. She was a journalist who was murdered on live television on August the 26th, 2015.
My name is Lauren Green. I'm from Wethersfield, Connecticut, and I survived a kidnapping at gunpoint at the age of 13 there, and I am here to honor with action all of the survivors and those that we have lost.
I'm Robert Ewell, Portland, Oregon, here to honor with action my wife, Cindy Ewell, murdered while Christmas shopping at Town Mall.
My name is Catherine Morosky. My daughter's friends were killed in Sandy Hook Elementary School 4 years ago yesterday. 2 of the girls were on her soccer team, and we're here to honor their lives with action.
My name is Tanya Birch. I'm from Chicago. I'm here to honor with action. This is my son, Deontay Smith. He was murdered at 19 in Chicago at an unauthorized block party, and I'm here to honor with action.
My name is Diana. I'm from Chicago. This is my daughter, Aaliyah Shell, 6 years old. She was murdered in front of the house while we were sitting on our front steps. And me and Caitlin are here to
honor with action.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marie DeLuce. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm also a Marine Corps veteran for Desert Storm. This is my nephew, Pierre-Paul Jean-Paul Jr., that was killed in Queens, New York, November 11, 2008, on Veterans Day, and I am here to honor action. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you to the champions of change in Congress that are here with us today. Thank you to all the families, the gun violence prevention groups that are here,
and all the advocates that came down from Newtown. My name is Poe Murray. I'm the chairwoman of the Newtown Action Alliance and the Newtown Foundation. 4 years ago yesterday, 20 children and 6 educators were senselessly gunned down at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown. Since that tragic day, over 400,000 Americans have been killed or injured by guns. Meanwhile, Congress has failed to take any action to end gun violence, and the community of families that are directly impacted by gun violence continues to grow. Gun violence touches all of us, from Newtown to San Bernardino, from Hartford to Orlando, from Charleston to Chicago, from Aurora to New York City, from Oakland to Virginia Beach. Today, we are joined by nearly 80 direct relatives of victims and survivors of gun violence, but there are hundreds of thousands of families who are living their lives without their lost loved ones, still suffering from gunshot injuries themselves. Make no mistake, the Sandy Hook tragedy was a watershed moment for the gun violence prevention movement in our nation. Americans are united in their support for strong background checks and other common sense proposals to end gun violence. And the families, the survivors, GVP groups, and advocates are uniting and organizing like never before. We held the 4th annual National Vigil for all victims of gun violence on the 4th anniversary date of the Sandy Hook shooting right here on Capitol Hill yesterday. And our allies are holding over 330 local vigils in 43 states, in hundreds of cities and towns across the nation. We have changed the conversation, and we have elevated the conversation to the national level. The elections are over, but the conversations about guns and gun violence are far from over, because 100,000 Americans will continue to be shot or injured by guns every single year, and there will be more mass shootings due to our weak gun laws. A recent post-election poll shows that the majority of Americans want gun violence prevention to be a priority for the new administration and Congress. It is the fiduciary responsibility of federal government to protect all of its citizens from gun violence. Gun violence prevention shouldn't be a political, partisan issue because it's a public health issue. Unless Congress takes action every single day, 90 more families will lose someone they love, and 200 additional Americans will be injured by guns. With 300 million guns, weak gun laws, and more guns seeping into our public places, more and more of us will lose someone we love, become victims or a survivor of gun violence ourselves. The overwhelming fact is guns do not make us safer. Unlike any other products, guns are manufactured to kill. We know that we are on the right side of history. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. The NRA and the gun lobby have worked for the past 4 decades to influence our government without much opposition, but we will no longer allow that to happen. We will outshout the gun lobby. We will continue to push for a set of strong state and federal policies that will help to reduce gun violence. We passed strong legislative proposals in Connecticut, and we can do the same here on Capitol Hill. Thank you so much, and I would like to introduce Senator Richard Blumenthal, who has been a champion of change for Newtown and everyone in America.
Thank you, Poe, for your courage and strength. Thank you to all of the loved ones and survivors who are here today. Your courage and strength is amazing, never ceases to awe us, and we honor you with the hope that we can achieve action. The vigil that many of us attended last night reminded us of that day 4 years ago when we stood at the firehouse and afterward at the church on that cold day, seeing the panic and grief and pain, those feelings are still fresh, but so too is our determination still strong to honor with action, not anger. Anger would be well justified because Congress has been complicit in the inaction and in the deaths and injuries that have occurred, 400,000 every year from all over the country. And Congress's complicity must end. But the service also reminded us of the strength and courage of those families who came to Washington and persuaded our colleagues. In fact, 55 of them. Let's remember there was a majority in the Senate, even though we failed to reach the 60 that we needed. There was a majority. There are a vast majority of the American people who want these common sense measures. The people are on our side. History is on our side. There is hope. We come together for the first time after the election. And there would be good reason for people to be desolate and maybe despairing. Shortly, we'll have a new president, unlike President Obama, hardly committed to the cause of ending gun violence, but there is a moment of opportunity here, and my hope is that newly elected President Trump will use this opportunity, much as President Nixon did in going to China. It's a Nixon to China moment for Donald Trump. When he can defy the expectation, do the unpredictable. He likes doing the unpredictable. Respond to a rally, which he also likes to do. And the rally is the American people who are clamoring and demanding action. We need to rally the American people, mobilize and organize them, just as these groups are doing. Sandy Hook Promise, Newtown Action Alliance, all of the grassroots work underway will have a result. Donald Trump has a legacy moment when he can seize this opportunity, a historic opportunity to do the right thing and adopt these common sense measures, background checks for every gun purchase, a ban on terrorists buying guns, and ending the immunity, the legal immunity, unprecedented, unknown to any other industry for gun manufacturers. These are your ideas, Donald. We'll give you credit for them. But the most important thing is that we continue this battle. And so I am so grateful to my colleagues, to all who have worked so hard over so many years, not just since Sandy Hook, but before it. I've worked with many of them when I was Attorney General of the state of Connecticut for literally decades. And one of them is the Brady Campaign. I'm very proud and honored to introduce now Dan Gross of the Brady Campaign.
Thank you, Senator Blumenthal. Thank you for all of your tremendous leadership. Thank you to the tremendous leadership of all the other representatives that have joined us here today and shown their commitment to the change in this country that's so long overdue. Thank you especially to all the victims and advocates and survivors that have joined us here today from across the country to honor their loved ones with action. The honor part is important and the action part is important, and together I'm more confident than ever that we're going to create change. Before I get to a couple of quick remarks, a couple of additional loved ones have joined us, and I want to invite you to come up here and tell us who you're honoring here today with action.
Hi, good morning. I'm honoring today with action my beloved son, Kedrick Ali Morrow Jr. He was just 1 month away from his high school graduation. He had obtained an academic scholarship to St. John's University, and he was killed due to gun violence. A great kid like so many other Americans that we are losing in this country. So I'm here to honor with action and to keep going and to continue to fight and to save the lives of our children. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Natasha Christopher, and I'm here to honor my 14-year-old son, Akil Christopher, who died on his 15th birthday due to senseless gun violence. And every day since he died, I have continued to honor with action. And I stand here with my son, Christopher Underwood, as we honor and pay respect to all those who have lost their life to senseless gun violence. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm here to honor with action not only the 90 people who are lost to gun violence every day, the hundreds more that are injured, but also my younger brother, Matt Gross, who was shot in the head in a shooting on top of the Empire State Building, and his dear friend, Christopher Burmeister, who was killed that day. Listen, this time of year in December, we tend to be reflective about the year that just passed. And just as I have no doubt that 2012 will always be remembered in large part because of the tragedy that happened at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, I have no doubt that 2016 will be remembered through history as the year the American people have finally come together to say enough. Enough of the mass shootings in malls and movie theaters and churches and schools and nightclubs. Enough of the daily terror in our country that claims 90 lives in the U.S. every single day, claiming the lives of women in homes across this country and young people of color across this country in staggering proportions. Enough of easy access to guns by the people that we all agree shouldn't have them. This is what it comes down to. The people we all agree shouldn't have guns. And enough of a small group of craven politicians putting the interests of the corporate gun lobby ahead of the safety of the people they've been elected to represent. Enough. 2016 will be remembered as the year not only where the tragedy in Orlando happened, but the year where, after that, we put hundreds of thousands of calls into Congress to let our elected representatives know that we've had enough and that we're holding them accountable. The year that the House had a sit-in led by the heroic Representative John Lewis and joined by all of the colleagues that you see behind me here, and Representative Norton here as well, and the historic filibuster in the Senate, led by Senator Murphy. And it's the year we got a vote. We didn't win, as Senator Blumenthal said, but we got a vote on a bill that nobody thought was going to see the light of day anytime before the elections. We got a majority to expand Brady background checks to all gun sales and to add known and suspected terrorists to the background check system. Just getting a vote on that shows that we're holding our elected leaders accountable like we never have before. This is going to be remembered as the year that an historic number of candidates across the country, from the top of tickets all the way down, ran on the gun violence issue, and a year that a historic number of those candidates won. This is going to be remembered as the year that we had 4 ballot initiatives on this issue in states across the country. A lot easier to bully a few politicians and buy a few politicians than millions of Americans. And it's going to be remembered as the year we won 3 of them, including the initiative in Nevada to expand Brady background checks to all gun sales. This is the year that we're going to be remembered for suing successfully and holding accountable bad apple gun dealers, a small number of gun dealers that are flooding the streets of our country. Many of the tragedies that you heard about behind me, I guarantee you that they happened with guns that came from these bad apple gun dealers. We're suing them, we're holding them accountable, and we're only getting started. I have no doubt that 2016 is going to be remembered as the year the American people have said enough. And listen, we obviously have our work cut out for us moving forward. This administration and Congress may not start out, Senator Blumenthal had some good insight, may not start out as supportive of us as we would have hoped, but the reality is this was never going to be easy. We knew it. Everybody up here, when they're putting their lives, in the back seat to be able to come here and make their voice heard, none of us have done that thinking that it's going to be easy. And we are going to continue to stand up and speak up and make our voices heard by the millions until we make this the better, safer nation that we all want and deserve. That's what it always came down to. And that's what it would have come down to if we had a different Congress and we had a different president. It's still going to come down to all of us holding our elected leaders accountable and making our voices heard. And now it is my sincere honor to introduce one of the truly great ones who has helped us achieve this historic tipping point and who is undoubtedly going to help lead us over the top, Senator Chris Murphy.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for all of those here who joined us last night at an incredibly moving vigil. Listen, we stand in awe of the families that are here today, the survivors, the victims, the family members. I just can't, frankly, comprehend the strength that it takes to manage this kind of crippling grief and stand up and advocate for this cause and for your loved one. And so we're here to honor you. Sam Saylor and Henry Brown are here from Hartford, Connecticut, and they always remind me that the gun violence epidemic didn't start in 2012. The gun violence epidemic in this country was ripping through communities all across this country long before the massacre in Sandy Hook. But we do have to admit that the modern gun violence movement really did start 4 years ago this week. And we've been playing a lot of catch-up. The gun lobby and the gun industry had been building a political powerhouse for 20 to 30 years. And I know that people are so frustrated, so mad that we haven't been able to make more progress in 4 years, given the fact that so many people are on our side. But I think it's frankly understandable that we are in for a long fight, that we are all in for the long haul. And when you're going up against industry this powerful that had that big a lead time on us, well, then we got to put in our work as well. And as the Sandy Hook families reminded me and Senator Blumenthal when we lost that vote to a Republican filibuster in spring of 2013, they weren't advocates for 4 months, they were advocates for 40 years. And that's what it's going to take. But let me just put a fine point on the argument that Dan was making. I think it's astonishing the progress that we've made in such a short amount of time. And let me give you one specific example. In New Hampshire, there was a Senate race this fall that a lot of people here put a lot of effort into. And in that Senate race, the Republican and the Democrat were trying to outflank each other to show that they were stronger than the other on the issue of background checks and tightening loose gun laws. Well, 6 years ago, in that same Senate race, with one of those same candidates on the ballot, the dynamic was totally different. Only 6 years ago, the race between the Republican and Democrat was all about trying to outflank each other to the other side to show which candidate was closer to the NRA and closer to the gun lobby. That is, frankly, an astonishing transformation in a very short amount of time, and it portends what is going to happen in hundreds of other districts and races all across the country if we realize what is happening, right? Don't get discouraged that everything hasn't changed. So much has. Referendums pass. People get safer. The gun lobby is in retreat. We are starting to change the political dynamics in races all across this country. And this is the moment, as we honor 4 years since Sandy Hook, to put our foot on the accelerator, right? And to deliver the change that we know the American people want. You should be proud of the movement that you have helped to build. You should be proud of the change that you have already made, and you should expect and demand that the final changes that are needed to make this country safe are around the corner. I want to thank Newtown Action Alliance and all of those who made last night and today possible. We all are going to honor with action. Thank you very much. And I have the honor of introducing the other member of our team representing Newtown, Connecticut. Please welcome my great friend, Elizabeth Esty.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning. Good morning. We are honored to be here today. And we lamented. Last night was a night for remembrance and lamentation. But today, the morning after, now is the time for action. Now is the time for action. As was noted earlier, if you see, there's a plaque on the wall here to Gabe Zimmerman. This is the Gabriel Zimmerman meeting room. And why is that? He is the first staff member in Congress, 31 years old, gunned down, practicing democracy. He was at Gabby Gifford's side on that fateful day and was shot and killed with other Americans, a judge, a child. And that is what we're fighting for today. We are fighting for America's children and America's families. And you saw them here today. You see these pictures, and each and every one of these is a child of this country. And we can and we must do better. John Lewis led us in a historic sit-in on the floor of the House of Representatives. Note to women, if you're asked to do a sit-in, do not wear a short pencil skirt. I learned that. Like, how do I sit down? This is not easy. You can tell I didn't get the memo. It was going to be actually sitting in for 25 hours. But John made it very clear. You don't do it because it's easy. You do it because it's right. And you do it as long as it takes. And that's the note to America, the note to the president-elect. As long as it takes, because we're in for the fight of our lives, for the lives of Americans. And that's why we're not giving up. And democracy sometimes is led from the top. And here we see it's led democracies from, by, and for the people. This is of the people. This is a movement of you and of the hundreds of thousands of Americans who have been touched by gun violence. It's not going to be easy. But it's what matters. What matters more than that? What matters more than actual life? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, we are talking about life here. So that's my challenge to the president-elect. You want a safer America? Stand with us. Stand with us and do the right thing. Stand up to the traditional political forces that have gridlocked this institution. Stand with the American people who know and believe in the greatness of a country that says yes to change, that says yes, we can do those tough things, that yes, we can save each and every life, because each one is precious. Each one is a child of God, and this country can and will stand up, and with your help, I am confident we are seeing those change. We did see candidates run and win on this platform. Just, I will tell you, to the 1 out of 5 of my voters who also voted for Donald Trump, I know you voted for me for change, and we're going to keep fighting for it. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your support, and thank you for your example every day, the courage to stand, the courage to confront the evil and the hatred with love, acceptance, and an insistence that we do better in this great country. We are so proud of you and so grateful to live in a country where we can make that change happen, and we will do it together. Thank you very much. And it is my honor to introduce my great colleague, Rosa DeLauro, also from the state of Connecticut. Rosa.
Good morning. It's a difficult day. Yesterday was a difficult day. It's a difficult day every day for the families who are here. Every single day. The hole in your heart never heals. It never heals. But as my colleagues have said, you summon great strength and great courage. You're here to honor with action. We honor you today. And I will tell you that I am sorry that we have not acted, that we have not kept up our part of the bargain. That's not a bargain. It's a covenant that we have with the people of this country. That what does government do in the face of overwhelming challenge? Circumstances that overtake people's lives. It is the responsibility of the government to step in and to make a difference. And we have not stepped in to make a difference. And in fact, that's a broken covenant, a broken contract with the people of this nation. But as my colleague Chris Murphy pointed out, and Elizabeth pointed out as well, we are trying and we are moving to summon the courage that you have, to replicate that courage. And I so feel for everyone who is here, but the pride that I have in the Connecticut delegation, with the Senate, with Chris Murphy in a filibuster, with Richard Blumenthal, an ally in that effort, standing tall, with Jim Himes, who walked off the floor of the House saying, yes, we want to pray, but we want action. With Elizabeth and Joe Courtney and John Larson and myself, and I'll be frank with you, we were co-conspirators in that sit-in. And unlike the United States Senate, we don't have a filibuster mechanism, as my colleagues will attest to. But we made a decision to skirt the rules of the House of Representatives and to sit in on that floor. Because I believe, Don said, enough. The country has said enough, but I believe members of Congress said enough. And I'll be partisan in this regard. This is not a partisan issue, but it was the Democrats of the House who sat on that floor. And for the first time in a very long time, we found our voice. We found our voice. And it was because of all of you, of the organizations and the families and the youngsters here today and who are around the country. And we said, why are we here? Why? We're here for one reason, and that is to listen to the cries of the American people saying, act on our behalf. And we will continue to find our voice with all of you as the external pressure on this institution, with the well-meaning people who are here who want to make change and will continue to fight that change. And we will stand with you shoulder to shoulder every day, unflinching, and make your voice and our voices heard on behalf of you and your children. God bless you, and thank you for being here today to give us our strength and courage. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce someone who has left the House chamber to go to the United States Senate chamber, and his voice will be heard there as it has been here. And that's our colleague, Chris Van Hollen from Maryland.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Rosa, for your leadership and everybody here. Our friend and great colleague and leader, John Lewis, always reminds us there's bad trouble and there's good trouble. Good trouble is when you get in the way of injustice. Good trouble is when you stand up when something is wrong and lead the way to bring about greater justice. To the families, to the loved ones, everybody who has lost someone to gun violence, the survivors, we thank you for taking your pain and your loss and working every day to try to make sure that other families don't experience that pain and that loss. And we know we haven't got there yet because every day around this country, we see the daily toll of gun violence. But I am also convinced that we will prevail in this fight because the fight to save lives is a just fight, and a majority of the American people know it. Overwhelming majorities of our fellow Americans believe in the kind of common sense measures we're talking about to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people, people who do harm to their neighbors and others in the community. So we will overcome. We don't know if it's next week or next month, but we do know that we are going to win this battle on behalf of the American people. And all of you here today show the promise of success because what the opponents of this movement are counting on is all of us being discouraged, all of us being disappointed and going away. And all of you are here today to say, we aren't going away. We are here to stay. We are here to fight until we make sure that we can save lives. Now, as Senator Blumenthal said, and others, this body, this Congress, remains in the grip of the gun industry. It is our job to loosen and break that grip. That's why you are all here. The good news from the country in so many places in this election, from Nevada to New Hampshire, is that in state by state, we are gaining ground for common sense gun safety measures. And as time goes on, we will surround this Capitol, and with your help, we will get this done. Justice will prevail, we will save lives, and we're not going away until the job is done. Thank you for being here to say we're going to overcome in this fight. And I'm really pleased to bring up a colleague from the other side of the Potomac River, from the state of Maryland, from the good state of Virginia, somebody who's also been another battler in this fight, and that's Don Beyer.
I'll say thank you to the families, the survivors, the many advocates that are here. You know, one of my favorite songs is called There's a Hole in the Middle of the Prettiest Life. And I think about it often. I listen to the folks here today and imagine losing a child, a loved one, a brother, sister, or mother, whether it's a murder or self-inflicted, that it creates a grief larger than the entire universe, and you just don't know how to understand it and how you live with it. In history, the thing that has most confused me and most upset me for my life was the Holocaust. 6 million people killed by the Nazis. Then you realize that if we live 80 years, any one of us, that's 2.5 million Americans will be killed in that 80 years from gun violence. This is deeply, deeply immoral. The people who stand up and say we can't do anything about guns have thrown away their moral responsibility to lead and to act. And we have to be patient enough to realize that every big, important thing takes time. It took us hundreds of years to get over slavery. It took us decades and decades and decades to make some progress on civil rights, on suffrage, on LGBT issues and the like. We have to be tireless. We have to be relentless. We have to be indefatigable. And for me, I go back to the oldest piece of literature in human history, the Iliad. And the essence of the Iliad is that you lose that person you love most, and yet go on living fully, richly committed to action in everything that we do. And I want to thank you deeply for your honoring with action the people we lost and our resolute commitment never to give up while we breathe, to keep moving on this issue. Thank you very much. And I would love to introduce my good friend, my role model, my colleague from Northern Virginia, Congressman Jerry Connolly.
All right. I want to give you the image of the congressman who represents the NRA. They're headquartered in my district. And every year they give me an F. Thank you. I'm very proud of that F. I've earned that F. So yesterday, to remember gun violence and especially Sandy Hook, we had a vigil in front of NRA's headquarters in my district. And several of the survivors, the families of victim members from other tragedies are here with us today. In my state, we had the largest gun massacre in American history until this year, Orlando. The Virginia Tech tragedy took almost 36 victims. That week, I was chairman of our county. We buried 6 young people in my county, including the shooter. I wonder if those who are bought and paid for by the gun lobby here in Congress and at the NRA headquarters understand the devastation of a gun tragedy, especially on a mass scale. The vigils, the ongoing suffering, the houses of worship trying to make sense of this. Virginia Tech, the shooter was a Korean-American young man who was mentally ill and had access he should not have had to weapons of mass destruction. I spent most of that week not comforting the families of victims. I spent most of my time comforting the Korean-American community that felt such shame. They took upon themselves, collectively, the responsibility of this tragedy. There are all kinds of victims with this madness. And I know all of my colleagues feel the same way, but I will make this pledge to you. There are things worth losing an election over. This is one of them. Social movements in America take a long time. Abolition, suffragette movement, civil rights. They don't happen easy. But they do happen. And right will prevail. And the witness of these brave men and women and children who are behind us here today, every time they show up, every time they show a picture, every time they tell their story, some of that brick and mortar at the NRA falls down. We will win this battle. Thank you very much. All right. Eleanor and I call her Kate. She and I have done some theater together. We did Taming of the Shrew. She was Kate, I was Petruchio. She's otherwise known as Eleanor Holmes Norton.
Oh, Petruchio, you almost left your Kate in her seat. I apologize to my colleagues and to the families that I had to sit for most of this session. I had a little procedure on my knee. You know, if we were on the House floor and you speak more than your allotted time, there's a gavel. I knew there was no gavel up here to shut up my colleagues. But there was a reason for that. There's a lot of passion that you heard from my colleagues. And I'm telling you, Congress is not in session. So for them to come from their home communities here speaks volumes to how they feel about this issue and what they intend to do about it. As impressed as I am, as grateful as I am that my colleagues who, like me, who had to come only a few blocks, have come back to Congress today, I could not be more impressed, very frankly overwhelmed by what I heard from those of you who came to join us today you have come during Christmas from all parts of our country. As far as the West Coast, you have come to Washington today to make clear where you stand and that you will not give up. You know, there's an old cliche, and we hear this cliche at moments of loss. We shall never forget. Here, assembled, you see people who really mean it. I ask for your applause for those who've come from around the country to say, we will never forget. Because in Jerry's NRA district, they're depending upon us to forget. Standing here at Christmas time when people have gone shopping and are trying to get their acts together for Christmas Day, standing here on December 15th, I think we are saying resoundingly, we have not forgotten, we will not forget. So I have formed, although you may not know it, a bond with each of you today, because of a bond I first formed with the 26 cyclists who came annually from Sandy Hook. And the reason I speak about a bond is that the Sandy Hook cyclists, of course, came to the Capitol to have a press conference, just as we are. But they stopped first in the District of Columbia, in one of our local communities, to say to the people who I represent, we are not only here about what we ourselves have experienced. We who live in a tiny suburban community are at one with you in a big city, who experienced the gun menace in a very different and menacing way. So we formed that bond with the 26 cyclists who represent the 26 whose lives were taken in Sandy Hook. And I felt as I heard each of you speak, just as I am now speaking, as a representative of a big city, I felt a kinship to each of you who spoke out of your personal responsibility, not in holistic terms, but in personal terms. That is how we're going to win this issue. And for us in the District of Columbia, this is not only the nation's capital, my friends. There's 700,000 human beings who live here. For those of us who live in the District of Columbia, the bond is very special. My colleagues will tell you that not a single session of Congress goes by, but that there are bills that would overturn every single gun safety law in the District of Columbia. That is the biggest fight I have every year. So if you want to know who is inspired by having you come at Christmas time here, you are seeing who is inspired as the member who represents the people who live in the nation's capital. So today, on December the 15th, I not only renew my bond with the people of Sandy Hook, but I have now a new bond with those of you who've come from around the country. We say, yes, we're in a fighting mood, but together we seek peace and ask only for the Congress of the United States to do its job and act to put an end to the scourge of gun violence through reasonable reforms that the public, that these representatives of the American people now insist upon and demand. Thank you all for being here.
Good morning. I'm a priest at St. Mark's Episcopal Church on Capitol Hill, just a couple of blocks away. We are a parish that worships in the shadow of the nation's capital, so our daily parish work has to do with these halls of power and the making of laws, and so it has made sense for us to welcome the Newtown Action Alliance and Newtown Foundation to join us the last couple of years to host their vigil. And so last night, we held a vigil on the 4th anniversary of the massacre at Sandy Hook, this slaughter of innocents that took place. And as has been said by so many people here who have noted that the people of Newtown, this lovely little place in Connecticut, have used this tragedy to reach out to the dark corners of the world, to everyone who has been touched by gun violence and shown us what agape love looks like. In my tradition as a Christian, the way that I look at the world, the way that I look at God, we are in a very holy time right now. It is the time of Advent, the time before Christmas when we prepare for God's coming, when we remember how God came to us before. Now, no one really knows when Jesus was really born, but for us, Christians, the end of December is symbolic that God came to us in the middle of the darkest night, in the midst of the coldest winter. And God came to us in this startling and unexpected way as a fragile human child. God took on human flesh. And this teaches us, Christians, two things about God. One is that God cares deeply for human flesh, for human lives. Not how human lives are lived in some kind of afterlife, some sort of hereafter that we'll get to at some point, but how human lives are lived out here on earth today, and how they are lived out everywhere, in Newtown, in Oakland, California, in Detroit, Michigan, in Chicago, in Orlando, in Washington, D.C. In every corner of this earth, God cares about human life, and it is precious. The other thing we learned is that God showed us our own potential. As fragile, short-lived human beings, we have the potential and opportunity to be so much more. God showed us by God's coming into our own lives that we could be the kind of people that God made us to be, that the things that seem impossible, the things that seem hard are for us things we can do. And so, once again, this year, we celebrate Christmas. And we remember that that first Christmas also came with it a slaughter of innocents. So we know that though the night is very dark and the winter is very cold, that God can still be born in us today. And I ask you all, as able, to stand. Standing helps our praying. And though we may not all be Christians, I ask that you pray to the God of your understanding. Gracious God, incarnate once again in us. Use these minds, these hearts, these hands to make your world, the world that you envisioned for us. Give us strength and will to be a people who cannot sit silently, do not see as impossible to accept 90 lives lost each day because of our obsession with guns. We know that such a life is possible. So come, O come, Emmanuel, be born in us again this day. Amen.
Thank you so much to all the speakers and all the families and advocates here. On Monday, we are encouraging all Americans to call Congress at 202-224-3121 and ask every congressional member to honor with action to end gun violence once and for all. Thank you, and let's take a group picture before we all leave. Everyone.
Can we have one last round of applause for Poe Murray and for Newtown Action Alliance? Really tremendous.
Everybody, group picture.